morning everyone. Welcome to online class. Today's class we are going to learn lesson 2. We are not afraid to die if we can be all together by Gordon Cook and Alan East. This story is about a 37-year-old businessman who is the narrator of the story. The narrator and his family planned a voyage around the world just like famous Captain James Cook. The ship wrecked. The story tells us about how they fought each day and survived till the end. Now let's see the line by line explanation of the lesson. We are not afraid to die if we can all be together. In July 1976, my wife Mary, son Jonathan 6, daughter Susan 7, and I set sail from Plymouth, England to duplicate round the world voyage made 200 years earlier by Captain James Cook. For the longest time, Mary and I, a 37-year-old businessman, had dreamt of sailing in the wake of famous explorer, and for the past 16 years we had spent all our leisure time honing our seafaring skills in British waters. Honing our seafaring skills means the efforts made by the author and his wife to improve their seafaring skills. In July 1976, the author and his family started their journey from Plymouth, England. They had been preparing their seafaring skills for the past 16 years. Our boat Wavemaker, a 23-meter 30-ton wooden hulled beauty, had been professionally built, and we had spent months fitting it out and testing it in the roughest weather we could find. The first leg of our planned 3-year 105,000-kilometer journey passed pleasantly as we sailed down the west coast of Africa to Cape Town. There, before heading east, we took on 2 crewmen. Crewmen means persons who work in the ship or aircraft. The narrator's family sailed from Africa to Cape Town, which was quite a pleasant journey. The boat Wavemaker had been built specially for their voyage. American Larry Vigil and Swiss Herb Siegler to help us tackle one of the world's roughest seas, the Southern Indian Ocean. On our second day of Cape Town, we began to encounter strong gales. For the next few weeks, they blew continuously. Gales did not worry me, but the size of the waves was alarming, up to 15 meters as high as our main mast. Here, gales means strong wind. Alarming means disturbing. Before heading east, the narrator hired 2 crewmen, Larry Vigil and the Herb Siegler, to help them tackle one of the roughest seas, the Southern Indian Ocean. They encountered strong and alarming waves during the second day. December 25 found us 3,500 kilometers east of Cape Town. Despite atrocious weather, we had a wonderful holiday complete with a Christmas tree. New Year's Day saw no improvement in the weather, but we reasoned that it had to change soon, and it did change for the worse. At dawn on January 2, the waves were gigantic. We were sailing with only a small storm jib and were still making 8 knots. Here, gigantic means huge. Jib means a triangular staysail set forward of the mast. By December 25, they all managed to reach 35,000 kilometers east of Cape Town. The family somehow managed to surpass the bad weather and celebrated Christmas together. As the ship rose to the top of each wave, we could see endless, enormous seas rolling towards us and the screaming of the wind and sprayers painful to the ears. To slow the boat down, we dropped the storm jib and lashed a heavy mooring rope in a loop across the stern. Then we double lashed everything, went through our life raft drill, attached lifelines, donned oilskins and life jackets and waited. Here, mooring means fasten. Stern means a back end of a ship. Lashed means tightly. The weather changed for the worst on January 2 the big waves hit them. They tried to slow the ship down by dropping storm jib and hit a heavy mooring rope in a loop across the stern, but it did not help much. They double lashed everything, went to their life draft drill, attached lifelines, donned oilskins and life jackets, and they waited. The first indication of impending disaster came at about 6 p.m. with an ominous silence. The wind dropped and the sky immediately grew dark. Then came a growing roar and an enormous cloud toward aft of the ship. With horror, I realized that it was not a cloud but a wave like no other I had ever seen. It appeared perfectly vertical and most twice the height of the other waves with a frightful breaking crest. Aft means at the back of. Crest means top. Later in the evening at 6 p.m., a vertical and huge wave stroked the ship. The sky grew dark. It was a vertical huge wave. The wave was twice height of other waves. The roar increased to a thunder as the stern moved up the face of the wave, and for a moment I thought we might ride over it. But then a tremendous explosion shocked the deck. A torrent of green and white water broke over the ship. My head smashed into the wheel and I was aware of flying overboard and sinking below the waves. The roar increased like a thunder and the stern moved up the face of the wave. A torrent of green and white water broke over the ship. The narrator's head smashed into the wheel and he was aware of flying overboard and sinking below the waves. The roar increased to a thunder as the stern moved up the face of the wave, and for a moment I thought we must ride over it. But then a tremendous explosion shook the deck. A torrent of green and white water broke over the ship. My head smashed into the wheel and I was aware of flying overboard and sinking below the waves. Deck means a flat area for walking on. Tremendous explosion means a powerful bursting. The roar increased to a thunder. A powerful explosion shook the deck. A torrent of green and white water broke over the ship. The narrator was thrown off from the ship. I accepted my approaching death, and as I was losing consciousness, I felt quite peaceful. Unexpectedly, my head popped out of the water. A few meters away, wave walker was near capsizing, her mast almost horizontal. Then a wave hurled her upright. My lifeline jerked taut. I grabbed the guardrails and sailed through the air into wave walker's main boom. Subsequent waves tossed me around the deck like a rag doll. Capsizing means turning over. Boom means long pole with the sail tied to it. Taut means completely stretched. The narrator accepted his approaching death and started losing consciousness. When the ship was about to overturn, a huge wave hit again and turned it right back. He grabbed the guardrail and sailed into ship's main boom. My left ribs cracked, my mouth filled with blood and broken teeth. Somehow I found the wheel, lined up the stern for the next wave and hung on. Water, water everywhere. I could feel that the ship had water below, but I dared not abandon the wheel to investigate. Suddenly, the front hatch was thrown open and Mary appeared. We were sinking, she screamed. The decks are smashed. We are full of water. Take the wheel. Abandon means to leave. Hatch means an opening in the floor. The narrator's ribs cracked. His mouth filled with blood and broken teeth. Somehow he found the wheel, lined up the stern for the next wave and hung on. He instructed his wife Mary to guard the wheel as he realized that the ship had water in the lower parts. I shouted as I scrambled for the hatch. Laurie and Herb were pumping like madam. Broken timbers hung at Gracie Angels. The whole starboard side bulged inwards. Clothes, crockery, charts, tins and toys sloshed about in deep water. I half swam, half crawled into the children's cabin. Are you all right? I asked. Yes, they answered from upper bunk. His crewmen started pumping out water. The narrator went to his children's cabin and checked on them. They were in the upper cabin. The narrator asked them whether they were all right. The remaining part we will discuss in the next session. Thank you.